Hey friendlies, I'm Carolyn. Welcome back to my life living in an RV. A question I get a lot still after 7 years, in my 7th year on the road and 6 years on YouTube. The question I still get a lot is, what the heck do I do for a living to be able to afford my life? And the quick answer I usually give is, I don't imagine what you could afford if you didn't have to pay rent or mortgage. And that's the short answer. But why don't we talk about being a YouTube creator today? And I'm going to answer a lot of the questions about, is it possible to make a living as a YouTube creator? Is YouTube really a job? And that's going to be a big one. So I'm going to kind of give you the down and dirty about being a YouTube creator today, if you've ever wondered if you can do it. So stay tuned.
There ain't nobody gonna do it for you. Got to find your own.
All right, good morning and welcome back. Yeah, big change of scenery from the last time you saw me in a travel video, but stay tuned for the travel videos because I'm going to be shooting my quick trip across the country and sharing with you on Sunday nights. As usual, Sunday nights are travel videos, Tuesdays and Thursdays, if I do a Tuesday video. Definitely Thursdays are more the how-to videos like this. Do me a favor, watch this video all the way through. The more you can watch, the more you can leave comments, the more you leave thumbs up, the better, the more it helps my channel. Also, please make sure you check the check to make sure you're still subscribed to my channel because YouTube unsubscribes people. And also check your Google notifications, your YouTube notifications to make sure you never miss a single video. A lot of you keep saying you're missing videos. So anyway, without much further ado, what do I do for a living? How do I afford this lavish lifestyle of mine in my junky RV? I love the junky RV. I've like grabbed a hold of that and owned it. Do I really think my RV is junky? No. Is she bumped and bruised? Yeah, that's okay. Bumped and bruised is a sign of living and taking risks. So what do I do for a living to afford this lavish lifestyle? I'm a full-time YouTube creator, and most of you know that. Most of you who watch me on a regular basis know that. But I've got a lot of new subscribers. My channel's growing again. A lot of people are just finding me, and you don't really know how the heck do you afford this, because there's still this misconception. The creator economy is a $1 billion, where are my numbers here? The global creator economy is estimated to be worth $104 billion. We little creators here, who some people don't even think it's a real job, are contributing $104 billion to the global economy. So it's huge. And something like, I hear different numbers, 25 to 75% of kids under like 15 want to grow up to be YouTubers. So, I mean, this is real. It's here to stay. That song, and I've talked about this before, you know the Dire Straits song, Money for Nothing, Chicks for Free? Oh, look at them bozos. That's the way you do it. Money for nothing and your chicks for free. Back in the day, they got crap for being on MTV, and these blue collar, because they talk about moving color TVs and microwaves, they probably got shit from these blue collar guys who were like, that's not a real job. I mean, anybody can get up there and play guitar. It's kind of the same these days. This is the new version of that Dire Straits song. People are like, anybody can make a video. It's not a job. And I always challenge that. Well, you can make your own coffee, yet you go to Starbucks every day. You can make your own hamburger, and yet you're in line at McDonald's. I mean, if the world was full of people who did things instead of pay for things that they could do themselves, we would have no economy. So $104 billion people like me contribute to the world economy. So is it an actual job? Is it a real job? Yes. And every time somebody calls me an e-bagger, I challenge them back, okay, define job. And of course they never do, because they can't, because they would be proven wrong. A job, in very basic terms, is getting paid for something that you do. Having a job is basically somebody is willing to pay you for whatever you do, whatever output you have, whatever labor you perform. If there is a market for people to pay you to make a double frappuccino, then that's a job. If there isn't a market for it and you're out on the street side making double frappuccinos, then it might be a hobby. The difference between a hobby and a job is that people are willing to pay you for it. I am fortunate enough that people are willing to pay me. Not only do I get ad revenue from YouTube, which I've said before fluctuates between 40 and 60% of my revenue, my overall business revenue, I'm able to turn this beautiful, wonderful lifestyle and hobby into a job because people are willing to pay me for the content that I create. And that's another distinction I need to make. People are always like, well, you know, it must be life to get people to pay for your lifestyle. And, you know, it's nice to not care about your RV when people are willing to pay for it. People don't pay me to travel. I don't sit here in a video with a sign, please send me gas money. People pay me for my output. People pay me for my labor. It takes a lot of work to create the videos that I create. And in fact, I have a video coming up soon showing just a few seconds of what it takes. I actually show you a little bit more of the editing process than I've ever showed you before. And I said in the beginning when I was still learning and experimenting with editing and shooting, it was taking me an hour of editing for every minute of video. So if a video took me, if you watched a 10-minute video, there's 10 hours just of editing, sitting behind the computer, putting that together, not including the extra time to set up a shot, to, you know, set up my camera equipment and pull out all my camera equipment, not even including all that, not including, of course, everything else that goes into running a channel, and I've talked about that. But I've gotten that down so it doesn't take me, it's closer, I don't even know what it is now. I've gotten a lot better at shooting for filming, so that really helps. But still, what people are paying me for, they're not paying for my lavish, you know, fancy lifestyle. People are paying me for my output. They're paying me for my labor. Nobody would pay me just to travel. I see those people standing on the street corner holding signs with their RV next to them saying, need gas money. That's begging. Going inside your RV and spending 10 hours on a 10-minute video to give to the public who, you know, tens of thousands of people enjoy is a job. So that's what I do for a living, and it's a full-time job. And people are like, I know, we make it look so easy. You watch a 10-minute video and you're like, they shoot a video for 10 minutes and they put it up. That's not a job. Just like Dire Straits, you know, you don't see all the learning, all the practicing, all of the efforts. You know, Dire Straits, think about, you know, having to put out an album and all the studio time and then going on tour to promote the album and to build their fan base. There's a lot more that goes into a 10-minute production than you might realize. And I have said this before, in addition to, in order to make this a full-time endeavor, in order to make this a business, and I have more numbers on that, only 35% of content creators surveyed in this Influencer Marketing Hub survey have been building an audience for over 4 years and earn over $50,000. So only 35% of creators who have been working for years earn over $50,000. And here's another fun statistics. The average salary for male creators is 1.88 times, almost 2 times that of what it is for female creators. Interesting, huh? It's not as easy as just, you know, hey, I'm gonna sit here and shoot a video and, you know, put it up and I'm done for the day, that's it. There's a lot more that goes into creating a channel. And part of the reason I'm telling you this is because over the years, I have seen so many people hit the road thinking, oh, I'm just gonna make a living as a YouTube creator. It is not that easy. It takes a lot. I mean, 1%, I read one time, I don't have that statistic in front of me, but like 1% of YouTube creators have over 100,000 subscribers. I'm part of that 1%. 1% of YouTubers has over 100,000 subscribers. Now, I don't know if that number is channels who don't put up any content or not, you know, because everybody who contents on YouTube has a channel. So I've never been able to verify that, but still, I'm sure the number is below 5%. You know, you look at the number of channels. I mean, I know there are channels, there's some 10 years, it's 22,000 subscribers. You know, it's not easy. It takes a lot of work. And part of what has made my channel successful is my background in marketing and all the work I did even before I put up my first video, all the behind the scenes work that I did to create a successful business once I decided I wanted to do it. But what does it really look like being a YouTube creator? What is really involved in it? So you know what? Yeah, you can put up videos as a hobby, and you can look at, there's, I don't know, thousands now of RV channels. Just Google or do a YouTube search for RV channel, and you'll see some that are not very engaging. Let's just put it that way. Not everybody can turn on a camera and start talking and people want to watch. That's just a fact. That's not saying that I'm better than anybody else. It's not saying that I have, you know, something superior to anybody else. Some people just have a better camera presence than others. So if you are thinking about coming out on the road and thinking about starting a channel, you have to think about that. Would people want to watch me? Would I want to watch me? Shoot yourself. Not shoot yourself, film yourself. Set up a camera, set up your phone, and just start talking about whatever and say, would I watch this? I met a guy, I was on a walk in a campground. He was the cutest thing. What was his name? Oh, it's in a video somewhere. I talk about him. 80-year-old guy, old hippie artist guy. He was flirting with me. He was so cute. He was trying to be like all PC and woke about it, but he was still 80. And he just kept telling me how charming I was. And he's like, you just have something about you. You're just charismatic. There's something just very charismatic about you. And I've been told that a lot over the last few years since I've been on YouTube. And it's really interesting. When I first started my first business, Fortune Marketing Company, I was a marketing consultant before I hit the road. And for the first year on the road, I went to training to, I was a duct tape marketing consultant in my first couple of years, and I went to a big training in Kansas City, and I was at a table with my mentor and other people who were there doing what I was doing, and I was like, I don't know about this networking thing. I don't want to have to go to like Chamber of Commerce networking, and you know, people don't like me. I'm not, you have to, I'm a type of person people have to warm up to. People just don't like me right off the bat. And 10 people around the table were like, what the heck are you talking about? Are you kidding me? You have such a presence and people are drawn to you. And I didn't see that back then. It took me a while to grow into that. But there is definitely an it factor. And I don't know that that can be learned. I mean, you think about watching somebody on film who's trying, but you can still see how uncomfortable they are. In my book, How to Get 20,000 Subscribers in 40 Days, and I'll put a link to that in the video description. I talk about practicing. I think that maybe you can at least overcome, if you're uncomfortable, if you're unsure of yourself, if you're insecure, anything that's going on inside you is gonna come through. You can't hide from the camera. You just can't. So that's definitely something, before you ever think about, oh, I'm gonna go on the road and I'm gonna be able to make a living as a YouTuber like Carolyn, first you have to think about your on-camera presence. It doesn't matter what you look like. I'm a great example of that. It's a matter of how you come across. And I don't know why I am the way I am, and I don't know why I have that it factor. I even hired an attorney a couple years ago when I started As I See It to ask him some copyright questions about my As I See It channel when I started it. And he's got a big channel, and one of the first things he said is, he's like, wow, you really have something on camera. And, you know, and I'm all unkempt. At least I look unkempt, you know. I mean, I don't always like do my hair. I may not look like what you would expect someone to look like on camera, but I have that it factor. Anyway, do you have that it factor? You have to seriously get honest with yourself about that before you think about coming out here and I'm gonna start a YouTube channel. The other thing about it is it's a shitload of work. Anybody who's ever started a business, it's a shitload of work. Can you just shoot a couple of videos and put them on your YouTube channel and then go about your life? Yeah. Will you make a living doing that? Probably not. Probably not. There are a few people with really, really huge dynamic it factors who just blow up, but they're usually like the young, cute van lifers, you know, the couples and the women, and they blow up pretty fast, but they still have usually an it factor. Actually, no, there's a couple. There's a couple who are really young. I don't think they're that great on camera, but they've got millions of followers. So it can be done. I guess you either have to have a look or the it factor. Luckily, I had one of the two. The second thing I want to make a realistic expectation for you about YouTube is the behind the scenes. So behind the scenes of creating content, I have a website, which is the very first thing I did when I decided I was going to start creating videos, because I wanted to start building a following. So I set up a website. I started blogging. I set up my social media. I create content not just for YouTube, but the YouTube community tab, for Patreon, for channel members, for YouTube, for Twitter. Twitter is really where I go. Twitter, it's under Carolyn's RV Life, but that's really more fun. That's more personal for me. I do some promotion there. My Facebook page, my Facebook Friendly Nation page, TikTok, and Instagram. So TikTok, Instagram, Facebook Club, Patreon, channel membership. Did I forget one? So my website, my blog, my newsletter. These are all things that I do behind the scenes that occupy my time. And these all go into helping my channel. The goal of everything is to drive traffic to my channel, since that is one of my main sources of revenue. Is to drive people there. That's where people discover me, and that's where I can launch into the other areas, Patreon and channel memberships. So you're gonna work your ass off. Let me just say that. You are gonna work your ass off. If you wanna just, post a pretty picture of a beach that you're in and post it on YouTube and show your family or friends or whoever might watch, great. That is not gonna earn you a living. So let me see, what else did I wanna talk to you about? Starting a YouTube channel. Oh, look, I think we also have to be realistic and honest about the hard part of being a YouTube creator, especially being a woman sharing herself online. A lot of you have seen what I have been through over the last few years. So Steve Wallace, it's Camping with Steve. He does a lot of stealth camping in weird places, and he's got over 1 million subscribers. He lost his wife recently. She just died. He woke up and she was just dead. Horrible, awful, awful, awful. And he took a month off, and he just came back, and the video was called "What's Next for Me?" And in his video, he talked about thanking everybody. 99% of the comments, he said, have been so supportive and so kind and so wonderful, and I want to thank you for that, but the 1% are making me want to turn comments off. This guy lost his freaking wife, and 1% of the comments were bad enough that made him want to or consider turning off comments. And he said, I'm Mr. Free Speech. If you want to disagree with me, you want to share your opinion, I don't believe in banning comments, but I can't handle this. I'm grieving. And that's a real aspect of sharing yourself online, whether it's on YouTube or Instagram or Facebook. If you do this full time, you are going to experience hatred and negativity and psychopathic obsession like you've never imagined. Most of us are decent, good, well-balanced people, and we don't, at least me, I didn't understand how sick people are. And I mean sick as in sick, and I mean mentally disturbed. You're gonna have stalkers. You're gonna have people who just make up lies about you. You're gonna have people who, when you are down, like Steve Wallace, and I can relate to that. When I lost Capone, it was like a mean girl mob. Whenever I share my most vulnerable things, it's like this bloodthirsty pack of animals coming at you to kick you and bite you and just tear you apart when you're down. Remember that. 99% of the people are good and kind, but any human being, no matter who you are, does not have thick enough skin to be able to deal with the bullying and the harassment and the hatred and the stalking and the death threats. And that's a real consideration. If you are coming out here for peace and serenity, YouTube, being a content creator, is probably not the job for you. It took a couple of years for me to be able to not let that stuff live in my head. Literally. Because I never, it's funny. considering the family I grew up with. Well, I guess I never imagined complete strangers would be so invested in that kind of ugliness, but they do. There are some very hurt, very disturbed people out there. So if you are thinking about being a YouTube creator, that is something you're gonna have to consider. It's gonna strip you of your peace, period. Period. Steve Wallace has been doing this a long time. He's got 1 million subscribers. It stripped him of his peace. It stripped him of his personal grieving time just because he had the audacity to share his life online. So there's that. So I think I've covered everything. This video is educational as much as it is just kind of sharing my experience with you and what I do for a living, and just trying to help people get over the hurdle that this isn't a job. Of course, people just have their mind made up. I guess if I'm not a blue collar punching a time card, is that it? You think a job is only people who punch a time card? Tell that to Elon Musk and Bill Gates, right? And I guess also people think that maybe just because I do this living in an RV, which I would counter, doing this living in an RV is twice as hard. It's twice as much work as someone who doesn't live in an RV, because besides creating content, most content creators have the comfort. They have a studio in their house. They have a setup in their house. They have a place, dedicated place where they can just go and turn on the camera and shoot, and then a dedicated office. I'm breaking mine down every time I travel. I have to reset things up every time I travel. I have, road noise when I'm driving and talking. I have jiggle when I'm driving and talking. And I'm bringing you travel video. So in addition to creating content and working 40 to 60 hours a week, especially like now, I'm traveling 5, 6, 7 hours a day. So I would argue that the people who are creating content as full-time RVers work twice as hard as most content creators. That's a fact. So these are all things I want you to think about. I would recommend really going into this with your eyes wide open. Whether you want to be a content creator as an RVer or another part of your life, go in with your eyes wide open. It's not easy. Hashtag van life makes van life look easy, and a lot of people don't talk about the truth and the reality of being a YouTube creator and how much hard work it really is. Again, anybody who's ever started a business, sure, it's easy if you just want it to be a hobby. If once you go over that line into making it a business, it becomes serious. It becomes something you can't walk away from. I can't just walk away from comments. Engagement is part of what made my channel as big as it is. And I don't want to grow thick enough skin to where, everything bounces off me. Have I gotten exponentially better at letting 99% of it bounce off me? Absolutely. Actually, it's not even the stupid hate that bothers me so much anymore. The people who are like, oh, it's not hate, it's free speech. I'm just such a child. That's me now. It's just like, oh my God, seriously, get a therapist. Because there's something wrong with you. But what really is hard for me to deal with right now is the unsolicited advice, the why don't you, the why didn't you, the how come you, and you really need to, you should. That's what's really bothering me these days. There isn't an insult that I haven't heard. So, call me whatever you want to call me. Those insults do bounce off me these days. After being online as long as I have, and this is another kind of cautionary tale for those of you who are thinking about doing it. A large audience comes with a large responsibility. A large audience comes with a lot of people having a lot of expectations. And as just being who I am, it can be really hard to manage all of those expectations without feeling like I'm constantly letting people down. That's really what it boils down to. And that's hard. It's hard. It's not easy being online, sharing your life as openly, as honestly as I do. And you really need to think about that. And people are going to comment on my glasses. I'm back to these because my blue ones got all scraped up, but I ordered a new pair. So I like the blue ones better than these. I really loved these when I first got them. Anyway, that's the reality of life as a YouTube creator. The big, the bad, the ugly of being a YouTube creator, and that is what I do for a living. And I work my ass off, and I have worked my ass off. And anybody who doesn't see that and doesn't recognize that and who doesn't think I deserve to get paid every cent that I earn, that's your problem. It's not mine. Leave your comments to yourself. I don't really care. I don't care what you think. In fact, I'd prefer that you not watch my channel. If you value my time that little, that you can consume thousands and thousands and thousands of my labor for free, and then you want to bitch when I promote Patreon or channel memberships, I prefer that you not watch my videos. Yeah. But everybody who is here helped me get here. Every single person who has watched my videos over the years, who has subscribed to my channel, you all help make this possible. So thank you so much, and I'll see you Thursday with another video, and Sunday for another travel video. And thank you all very much for being here and making this dream come true. You all made this happen, and I'll see you next time. In the meantime, be happy, be free, and be kind. See you soon. What you doing? What you doing?